Dear students, welcome to our Good Samaritan School online classes, and this is the class of Medical Diagnostics arranged for class 11 students. Already we have started our chapter that is named as Chemical Analysis of Urine, and already we have learnt about two parts of that. The first one was how can we determine the presence of glucose in urine with the help of Benedict test, and the second part was how can we determine the presence of ketone bodies with the help of the Rotheras test. Now today the third part of the chemical analysis that is named as the presence of nitrite, okay, in the urine, and that you can do with the help of the QDX urine analyzer. So how it can be done? The first one, if the principle that you have to learn, okay, if the nitrite in urine it will be present, and if it will be aromatic amino sulfanilamide, then what will happen? It will be diazotized to form the diazonium compound. So you have to remember this in well manner. Okay, the nitrite in urine, if the nitrite will be present in urine, then the aromatic amino sulfanilamide, these will be present in the reagent that is diazotized to form the diazonium compound, and this diazonium compound reacts with the tetrahydrobenzoquinoline, tetrahydrobenzoquinoline 3-phenol, causing the color change. So two different terms you have to remember here. The nitrite present in urine will be acting with the aromatic amino sulfanilamide, and it will be diazotized to form the diazonium compound, and these diazonium compound will react with the tetrahydrobenzoquinoline 3-phenol, okay, tetrahydrobenzoquinoline 3-phenol, and these will cause the color change. Usually in the normal cases, what is happening? The nitrite is not present, so the result is 0. But if and the means that visual and instrument test range, it can be negative, like because you cannot see any color change, okay, and the sensitivity level in the instrument, it can be 0.25 to 0.44 mg per dl. That means if this much value will be present, then only the instrument will show the positive result. That's why it is called as the sensitivity. And the abnormal value usually can be seen in two cases: urinary tract infection and the bacterial infection in the urinary tract. Then only the nitrite can be present in the urine. So this is up to the last part of the chemical examination. And today we are going to start with the new topic, that is the microscopic analysis of urine also. So why the microscopic analysis is important? We have to learn the purpose first, okay. What is the basic purpose? To perform the microscopic examination of the urine, the microscopy process is very important. So what will be the clinical significance? Usually the microscopic examination, it is a very valuable diagnostic tool. Just for what? For the detection and evaluation of renal and urinary tract disorder, or just to find out any kind of systemic diseases also. So why the microscopic examination is important? You have to remember two terms here. It is a valuable diagnostic tool for detection and evaluation of renal and urinary tract disorder. This is number 1, and number 2 is other systemic diseases also. The first one, what is the method? What is the principle of the method? The microscopic element, if it will be present in the urine, so it will be collected in the form of deposits, okay, by the centrifugation process, because you have to collect the urine sample on a test tube, and if you will do the centrifugation, then what will happen? The deposit will be here and the supernatant liquid part will be here. So you have to collect the deposit part, and you have to take a small drop of sediment. So these small drop of sediment you have to take, and then you have to make a slide of that, and you have to put the cover slip, and then you have to see the, like, from here take one drop, and then on the slide, in the mid of the slide, put one drop, okay, of the sediment, and then put a cover slip here, and just observe it under the microscope. Now what are the things that you can observe? So when you are doing the means that process, what will be the different requirements? You need the test tube, obviously, for the centrifugation process. Slides you need. Why? Because you have to make the smear, not smear means you have to take the deposit, and you have to put the cover slip on that, so that's why you need the slides also. Cover slip also you need. Pipettes also you need, okay, pipettes or dropper, just to take the sample of deposit. For that reason you need the pipette or dropper. Microscope obviously you will need, because you are doing the process of microscopy. So how without microscope can you do? It is not possible. And the centrifuge machine also you need, because without the centrifuge machine you cannot get the deposit and supernatant part. Now which kind of specimen you need? That is very important part, okay. You just remember, freshly collected midstream clean catch urine. What is the meaning of that? So when the person will start the urination process, some few drops should be omitted, and freshly collected midstream clean catch. Midstream clean catch means when the urination process is going on, so the middle portion of the urine the person should collect in the sterile container. So as a doctor, you have to tell your patient about the method of collection also. When you are going, you have to do the process of microscopy with the sample, okay. So you have to guide your patient accordingly. Now the next one, how the process can be performed. The first one, you have to shake the urine container well, okay, and take about 5 ml of urine in the centrifuge tube, because if you will not shake in proper manner, then what will happen? And if you will take the 5 ml of urine in the centrifuge tube, maybe in the sedimentation form in the urine, the different kind of cyst or anything, if it is present, it can go to the sedimentation part, sedimented part. So before doing the centrifugation, the container should be shaked properly. Now the second point, it will be centrifuged for 5 minutes at 2500 rpm. Now in the next step, you have to discard the supernatant, because in the supernatant that is no of any use, and it is just you have to discard it and resuspend the deposit by shaking the tube. Now take a clean glass slide and mark it with the patient identification number. Otherwise you can mix match, okay, the different kinds of patient, because so many sample you will get. So automatically, if you, for each and every patient, for their slide you have to write the patient identification number. It is the must process. Now please place one drop of the deposit on the slide and cover it with the cover slip. And lastly, you have to observe the slide under the low power objective and then under high power lens of the microscope. At first you have to observe in low power, then you have to observing in the high power microscope, okay. And at last you have to record the findings. So this is up to today's class, and in the next class we are going to see that which kind of findings we will get during the process of microscopy. Thank you very much.